Hello and welcome to Nikolai's genetics lessons, and today I have prepared 3 true-false questions for you, and as usual I recommend you to pause video, try to find which answer is correct for each statement, and when you would be ready you can run video again and you can compare your answers with my answers and explanations. And here is the first statement. You would expect individuals with type B blood to produce the anti-B antibody, and imagine that we have 4 different blood types, and I would draw 4 portions of 4 red blood cells that would represent all these 4 blood types. And the first blood type would be blood type A, and on the surface of the blood type A, on the surface of the red blood cells, we would find antigens A. And in the serum, we would be able to find antibodies B. We won't find here antibodies A, because antibodies function would be to find antigens, corresponding antigens, and kill such cell. Because red blood cell of the blood group A doesn't have antigens B, so these antibodies present in the serum of this blood group wouldn't kill the own blood cells, but would kill, for example, blood cells B if this blood group would be transfused, because on the blood group B red blood cells we would be able to find antigens B, but in the serum would be present antibodies A. And once again, antibodies A wouldn't kill the own blood cells, red blood cells, because red blood cells wouldn't have these antigens. So next blood group would be blood group A, B, and on the surface of this blood group we would be able to find antigens A and antigens B. And in the serum of this blood group we wouldn't find any antibodies for antigens A and B, or otherwise such antibodies would kill their own red blood cells. And the last group would be blood group O, and in this blood group we wouldn't be able to find any antigens on the surface of these red blood cells, but in the serum of this blood group we would be able to find both antibodies A and B. So as you know, this blood group O, is universal donor, so can be transfused to any of these blood groups, but only red blood cells without serum, because serum would contain both antibodies B and A, and blood group AB would be considered universal recipient, because this blood group can get blood transfusion from any of these blood groups, but not the whole blood, including serum, but only red blood cells. And as you see, blood group B cannot produce antibodies B, because these antibodies would kill their own cells. Blood group B would have only antibodies A in the serum. So as you see, the answer would be this is false statement. And next question or statement: for genes which have multiple alleles, the relationship between those alleles can be a variety of types of dominant recessive relationship. And imagine that this is one chromosome, this is another homologous chromosome, and here we have a site that we call locus, and 2 alleles. One can be allele A and another A1, and allele A can be dominant over the allele A1. And for example, if this dominant allele A would code for the specific color, for example, red color in plants, and A1 would code for the, say, blue color of the flowers. So phenotype or color of the flowers in this plant would be red, because this allele would be dominant over this one. But imagine that this plant has more than two alleles. It cannot have more than two alleles simultaneously because organism is diploid, so has only two alleles, so only two alleles can be present in one locus. But actually there can be more than two alleles in the gene pool. For example, allele A2 may code for the yellow color, and allele, for example, A3 for the green color, and the dominance would be as follows. So red color can be dominant over the blue, but blue can be dominant over the yellow. So if we would have A1 and A2 in our organism here in the locus 1, we would have phenotype that is going to be blue. But at the same time, A2 allele can be dominant over A3 allele. And if a flower would have these two alleles, the phenotype would be yellow, because A2 dominant over the A3. But at the same time, this A2 allele would be recessive to A1 allele, and also would be recessive to the allele A. And both allele A1, A2, and A3 would be recessive to allele A. So once again, for genes which have multiple alleles, the relationship between those alleles can be a variety of types of dominant and recessive relationship. And this is true. And next statement: mutations may be recessive because cells can increase the amount of functional protein produced by the remaining normal allele. Basically, if we have two alleles and one of them would be defective, for example, and wouldn't be able to produce normal protein, but still there is no change in phenotype because the other remaining allele would be overexpressed and necessary quantity of the normal protein would be produced. So this would be example that one allele is dominant, another one is recessive, and heterozygous genotype would make the same phenotype as homozygous dominant. But if we have one allele normal, another one that has mutation, and that allele, if present, would produce change in phenotype, we cannot say that this is a recessive allele, because when we have heterozygous state, so one allele normal, another is defective, and we see change in phenotype, so this is not recessive allele anymore. Once again, let's return to our statement. Mutations may be recessive because cells can increase the amount of functional protein produced from the remaining normal allele. And this is true. This would be example of the simple dominance. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please write your comments, questions if you have any. And see you in the next video. Goodbye.